So for those who are unaware, obviously with the UK riots that have been going on, it's gotten a step more egregious, if you will. The Met Police Commissioner Mark Rowley now threatening to extradite and imprison American citizens over online posts. Now we do have a video we can actually watch with him saying this particularly. It's from Andrew Torba. So we'll go here. Let me go ahead and put it on screen. It's from Andrew Torba, the founder of Gab. And he says, I repeat again, Gab will not hand one single set of user profile data to the UK government. Get bent. And good, because I'm glad he said that. But we'll go ahead and listen to this man say it himself. Although I will say, once again, it tracks that the most like feminine, non-binary looking individual is donning the admiralship or one of the higher offices of that. Again, another parallel to the US as well. We have the most gay and feminine looking generals. But again, any issues with sound, please let me know.
We will throw the full force of the law at people. And whether you're in this country committing crimes on the streets or committing crimes from further afield online, we will come after you.
Talk to me about that, because we have seen some high-profile figures whipping up the hatred. You talked about it in there with the officers, in fact, about this being added to by online commentary. I mean, I'm even thinking of the likes of Elon Musk getting involved. What are you considering when it comes to dealing with people who are whipping up this kind of behaviour from behind a keyboard, maybe in a different country?
Being a keyboard warrior does not make you safe from the law. You can be guilty of offences of incitement, of stirring up racial hatred. There are numerous terrorist offences regarding the sort of publishing of material. All of those offences are in play if people are provoking hatred and violence on the streets, and we will come after those individuals just as we will physically confront on the streets the thugs and the obs who are causing the problems for communities.
Now you probably caught it in there too. That slight mention of Elon Musk. Now forgive me, I did want to go to Matt Walsh's take on the Trump campaign. I'll go there in just after in a little bit. I think the particular thing that needs to be taken out of this is just the audacity to sit there and act as if you're going to come over to America and extradite people to Great Britain over posting something online. Like, yeah, I echo what Torba said. You can absolutely get bent.
We will throw the full
like come and take it. I saw a funny post of George Washington RKOing a British like soldier or British regular. It's one of the best posts I ever saw. It was aimed at one of these not end wokeness, but one of these actual like UK public accounts that exist there. Now, it comes with an aim at Elon Musk, who's been targeted by the British government for stirring up hatred. This is a trend line that we've seen continuing over and over and over again, particularly because of the early developments that happened in the riots. You had people like Elon and really Carl Benjamin. Those are two people I followed that I saw it coming from, that were like spot on over and over and over, nailing this, being like, hey, like this is egregious, this is aggressive, not here in America. And then now you get Elon Musk, who's being now thrown into this matrix like he's not safe, right? They're kind of like eyeing this up, or he's like building up to this point that they're going to get Elon extradited out of America, right? Like that's kind of the implication they're kind of building it up, is if Elon doesn't tone it down. And it says there's a video of a British guy getting arrested at home because of a Facebook post. Should play it. I actually think I might have that one. I think I have two actually of the British people that are getting arrested for their posts online. So they're not only threatening the extradition, but with the attachment of being a terrorist. So not only is it the extradition coming from like committing just a hate crime, they're also attaching it to be like, you'll also be designated with a terrorist charge for posting the material online. So it's complete tyranny, right? So you had a judge that warned that you will even be refused bail if you only watch the riots from the sidelines. I'm not even joking you. They've already actually denied bail and remanded into custody multiple people who were simply just at the riots, who didn't even participate, who were literally standing on the sidewalk watching, like from the periphery. Like there's weird arguments being put out from the judges there, just to show you how insane and how confident and how like obvious they are being about it, which I think is a little bit different from what we saw in J6. I'll get to that though. So they're warning that anybody present at a riot will be remanded in custody, even if they were only a curious observer. And so I said, it really makes you think, where is this energy for the immigration, but it seems to be there only for anti-white? Same thing with the Keir Starmer, I think that's how you say his name, the prime minister. the vitriol that was in that speech, like the far right thuggery. It's like, bro, you didn't, like, where was the energy for the last 20 years when like immigrants were having all these high profile killings and rapings and grooming gangs and gang raping? Like, not a single ounce of it was there. But now all of a sudden I see it like an 18 million viewed post because you're sitting there talking shit to white people. It's like, yeah, okay, I get tracks. Oh, once again, like these things, these parallels once again. But again, like it's a prideful thing to be anti-white apparently, but it's on these same trend lines. But again, this district judge, Francis Rafferty, has already denied 2 bail applications for these exact reasons, for them simply being around the riots, not even participating in them. Periphery of the scene is what it's being designated as. One defendant admitted to being on the edge of the scene for the reason of wanting to have a look, prompting the judge to say he doesn't have to throw a petrol bomb or a brick to be involved in disorder if he's present at disorder. So simply by being present, you're being disorderly, is the argument they're making. And on top of this, I do have this specific story of Tyler K., who went to prison and lost his house for copying a post on X. And this is from Mariona Fall. Now, I'm not sure if this is what you were talking about, Sandor, but I think it's in the same exact light. So Tyler K. went to prison and lost his house for copying a post on X. So he was sentenced to 38 months in prison for copying a post made on X by Lucy Conley. And Lucy Conley is also going to prison, is currently being sentenced, I believe, right now, for her online post in the same exact light. The post read, "Mass deportation now. Set fire to all the effing hotels full of the bastards for all I care. If that makes me a racist, so be it." It says that Lucy has been arrested for the post and Tyler was trying to prove that he wouldn't be arrested. He made this clear in a reply to his post, stating, "My point is more. It's one rule for some and another rule for others." So this is him here. Yeah. I'll let the chat say what they need to, because yeah. But these are the picture here, right? This is him. He essentially copied that exact post with all of these hashtags, and he's responding into a thread, saying his point was to show there's 2-tier policing. Well, clearly that didn't work out for him because he did get arrested. Showing how far they're willing to take this. They're taking no jokes in it at all, allowing simply no exceptions. Even copying another post is enough to guarantee or warrant the same exact charges. The unfortunate thing is apparently he lost his council house with this. Now, again, forgive me because I'm just not that familiar with the ongoings of what occurs in Great Britain and the UK. But apparently this was grounds for him to lose his home. So then they sent him to prison for 3 years and 2 months for this. So 3 years and 2 months for reposting, essentially, but in your own words, a hateful speech post. Now gets you a terrorist charge, disorderly conduct, and then a father of 3 now going to prison for this. It is egregious. And it's a very strong step up from what we saw after the fact on January 6th, right? Like, a lot of the rest that were done in like private, if you remember, where we were learning about after the fact, like when they did that one thing in Alaska Airlines where they stopped a plane and they were doing things in the dead of night, very, very kind of like secretly. They were doing things to not get the ire of the public, because if it was that they were just doing mass arrests for anybody like even halfway involved in J6 to the overt level of what happening in the UK, I think then you would have really kind of built the sentiment in the background of people being unwilling to cooperate. So these methods are a bit egregious, and the UK is doing things very publicly and very confidently. Now, obviously, because they don't have the Constitution, they don't have nearly the same amount of negative pro-rights that we have here in America. And the further arguments indicate that despite the UK having less protections, they're still abusing a law and order to enact these policies and carry out these mass waves of arrests. So even though they're doing these things publicly, confidently, and they're arguing that they are well within the law to be able to do these things, there's now growing sentiment that in fact they're actually even abusing their own laws in a country that has even less rights than we do. And I thought that was even more egregious, right? And so to take you here, this is again from Mario to Fall. And the headline to this says, "Is the UK abusing laws to jail people for social posts?" And so the 2 laws that are very specific here is the Public Order Act of 1986, which determines what is just or lawful in the public sphere. And then the Communications Act is what's used to regulate for the digital in posting online. Now, if you look at the Public Order Act 1986, this was introduced to manage public disturbances during the race riots of the 1980s. The law was historically used to prevent physical gatherings from turning violent. But they're saying recently, regarding these protests, its applications, man, I cannot talk, I'm losing my voice. Its application is expanded to target online activity, raising concerns that the law is now being used more broadly and aggressively than originally intended. And Kevdo, you are 100% right. Ministry of Truth. They want the truth. Dude, I'm choking over here. Forgive me. I'm getting smoked out. CIA must have found out where I live, dude. I can't breathe. I got some stuff in the air. But again, extrapolating this law to then broadly be enforced online, which is not what its original purpose was. And the Communications Act in 2003 is what regulates the electronic communications, which criminalizes messages deemed grossly offensive or threatening. And I gotta be honest, he left the best part out. This Communications Act even goes so far that you can be charged if you cause someone needless anxiety. Is literally one of the things that fits the criteria to be an illegal post. So if you post something that makes somebody anxious, like, that can see your post, you've just committed a crime. And if you're asking me, like, that is ridiculous, right? Yeah, nanoparticles, maybe. I'm telling you what, it got very hard to breathe in the last 20 minutes. I'm hoping there's not a fire in the building and I'm not paying attention. Either way, the show must go on. No, but hopefully not. But it just shows that even in a country that has less rights and even more stringent laws, is still abusing those ones, right? So if you were to stretch this in the US, it's like, well, they would clearly be out of bounds with the way that they were kind of interpreting their laws. But to even see that there's now cries that they're abusing the already harsher totalitarian laws that exist there is like, man, they are doing everything in their power to quell this. And I think most notably, it speaks to the fact of when I think it was on my last show, maybe 2 shows ago, when the Fuentes camp was like, in Alex Jones too, was saying, hey, like, this is a trap. Admiral Akbar, like, it's a trap. And they're going to use it as an excuse for the mass wave of arrest to then you get all of the most active and most willing and most convicted supporters who are the most at the ready to do something are now all of a sudden taken off the streets in a mass wave. And it's super unfortunate and it's super damaging to the party that needs the support. Now, you said, I think someone in Britain threatened us in the UA for our tweets. Yeah. Pack it up. We had a good run with the asteroid come in Britain. That's like an act of war. You know what? I gotta be honest. I think if Kamala Harris was elected, they would allow extraditions, and you would see American citizens then getting picked up and taken to Britain to stand trial for Britain law for something that you shouldn't have to pay any ounce of credibility or heritage to at all. Like, and again, like, we fought a war against these MFers, dude. we won, dude. Like, you have no say over the people here in these states, right? Like if anything, like that should be like the statement or the sentiment that we go with. But I do fear very heavily that if Kamala gets into office, that she will stand in nobody's way when they do come to issue like large extraditions, particularly less so about the individual person, right? So like I might want to think like, oh, I'm very impactful, dude. Like, I can do this. Like somebody like Elon Musk, that would be where I would imagine where Kamala's like, yeah, no, yep. Elon, you did break these laws in Great Britain. Yeah, I'm going to have to sign this deal. You're going to have to go, man. I can imagine her being very willing to open that door and be like, hey, like, Elon does need to serve trial for this. Because obviously it would be beneficial for her and the deep state to then remove the man who is spearheading the movement for free speech and full transparency here in the United States. In fact, the last bastion, had we not gotten Elon's purchase of Twitter for $44 billion, we quite literally probably wouldn't even be experiencing this much success, or we wouldn't even be probably even awaiting a Trump victory in November, because we would have been beaten over the head so badly in the last 3 to 4 years with misinformation, the censorship, the big tech oligarchs, that it would have been a lost cause. We can call them British cigarettes. Yeah, I mean, that's how they're acting, as a bunch of faggots. And I will be honest about that. And that was like the first thing I noticed about the video we just watched is like why is like the top guys in uniform, whether it's the US or in the UK, like, dude, like, these guys like he looks like a dude who is into furries. like you just like you look weird. You don't look like you're a commander in chief. You look like the guy in the cafeteria room that keeps making weird motions with his strawberry milk. It's like, bro, dude, can you stop? Can you stop? You're bothering me. But I mean, that really rounds out, I guess, the majority of the hot end news today.